Welcome to the Greenway Outdoors Podcast, your trusted source for outdoor information and entertainment. The Greenway Outdoors is also an internationally syndicated TV show and conservation advocate aimed at bringing millennials and Generation Z into the outdoors. Welcome to the Greenway Outdoors. Hello and welcome to episode 47 of the Greenway Outdoors Podcast. I'm Kyle.
I'm Jeff.
I'm AJ.
I'm Bill Putman.
I love it.
There we go. I'm Ryan.
Mr. Putman, it is an honor to have you here. For those of you who don't know who Mr. Putman is, he is the what would you name your title of the family? It's got to be a good one.
They call me Papa.
Papa. Okay. The Papa of the family from Meet the Putmans, from the basically the highest rated TLC show, reality show. You've seen him on there, Meet the Putmans. They had a season about a year and a half, 2 years ago. Fantastic. My mom and sister are so jealous right now. They were obsessed with the show. And the fact that I get to have you here in the studio today and your family's here with us too, it's truly an honor for us, and thank you for joining us.
That's so sweet of you. I just walking in the door, a gentleman named Ken. First thing.
Ken Colley.
What a nice guy.
We love Ken.
And then I've been watching your show, and we gotta expose the elephant in the room.
Okay.
You guys are out of control. I mean,
Mostly Jeffrey.
I'm talking out of my heart, and I'm a great judge of character. That's how we built our business. You guys, I see stars when I see you guys. I mean, this is the stepping stone. Now, who knows? Only God. But you guys are on your way, and you're delivering a solid moral message. You can't do that in today's market, but somehow you guys are doing it. Just be patient. It doesn't happen overnight.
Right. Well,
We appreciate that.
thank you. Yeah. So I'm humbled by your words. And I mean, you guys, you've got an incredible entrepreneurial background. You're also an incredible devout Christian. And on top of that, you've got an incredible family. And the way that you've worked your family is basically what landed you this incredible opportunity to have this, celebrity now from the reality show. So for those of you who don't know, Papa runs a family household where he's got his children and there's children's children all in one house. And that created, as you're seeing in that picture right there right now, Meet the Putmans on TLC, an excellent reality, moral-based Christian television show that, you broke into the mainstream. And that's really tough to do, to break in the mainstream with a clean message. Now, it's not because there isn't a ton of devout Christians. It's not because there isn't a huge market for it. Because look what Duck Dynasty did.
Exactly.
But getting through the production, getting through the market, getting through the LA.
In order to do it, and
tough.
that's why you guys have been successful, and that's why you're going to be successful. In order to break into this market, you need to have a great content. Not as much as the people that you're competing against.
Right.
I mean, if you're willing to destroy your reputation, if you're willing to be disgusting, okay, you got a spot on TV today.
Right,
okay?
for sure.
But the guys like yourselves, like Duck Dynasty, that make it, have unbelievable content. So watch, people.
And pressure.
Watch these kids, because you are tomorrow's stars. You're tomorrow's leaders, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I've watched, I don't know, a dozen of your podcasts. Is that what you call them?
Yep.
The kids, I don't know computers. Is that a computer thing? A pod?
Yeah. Well, no, it's phones, computers, pretty much all that technology stuff that follows us around now.
I am so illiterate. I mean, I can read, but I computers.
Yeah. No, my dad is like the same way.
Yeah.
He's so anti-phone and anti this.
What?
He's getting it. He's getting it now. They like it because they can watch the podcast on the TV, and that's how they tend to view it too. They're not into the phone thing and stuff. But yeah, it'd be considered a podcast, and then we have the actual television show as well, which is syndicated internationally. But our television show, the platform that we went with is every episode's about a specific tactic for a specific species, being hunting or fishing.
Right.
We cover the conservation of the species. We give you the gear list of everything you need for the hunting or fishing trip.
You're educating as well as entertaining.
That's the goal.
And that's exactly what you're doing. And that's what the mainstream wants.
Right.
They want to be entertained and at the same time walk away with a little bit more intelligence.
Exactly.
And you guys deliver it. You're delivering it. And if I may, I don't know, who I'm really speaking to audience-wise, but you're also bringing home God.
Right.
I mean, in every one of your podcasts, somehow, some way, one of you ding-dongs mentioned God. No, I'm serious.
Yep.
And you know what? I got goosebumps. It's cool. But, like I said, that separates you. It's a blessing and a curse. Stick with the blessing. You're doing everything right, and be patient.
It is tough too, because there's an added pressure. I'm not necessarily against it, but I've never had alcohol. I've never had tobacco. I've never done a drug, and I do get nervous that when you brag about God, you get in a scenario where you're analyzed because people want you to flop. They want you to fail.
Yeah.
And as you guys have had experiences, people will make up stuff to try and do that to you.
Unbelievable.
And it is especially in the hunting and fishing, so that then you get the people, and we've got your granddaughter coming on the podcast next for the second half of this.
Awesome.
And she's going to be talking about her bear story, so I won't ruin that for anyone now. But it puts us in a heavy pressure to make sure we're operating in a godly manner that people can respect and that we represent well. Because it says in the Bible that the worst thing you can do is just be outwardly bad, but then brag about God. And,
exactly.
And so it does put a lot of pressure on us. But I got to tell you, I've got 3 best friends, and Ken would be my 4th, and we travel, hunt, and fish, and film, and edit together, and it's one team collectively.
As a family.
As a family with one mission, one goal, one delivery, one push forward. And that's even we have a bigger team than just our group. We have other people that we work with, but everybody has the same moral compass that follows forward. You got to meet our agent, Mike Jackery. He's incredible, and he's got an incredible story too about how he's been at the very, very top of the industry. And he's, like you said, it's tough in this industry to find the right people on your team because having the same morals is one thing, but pushing it to the mainstream with the right morals is you need somebody with.
Here's a guy that I never met in my life that is in the top 1% of his industry. Okay, walks up to me, shakes my hand, and calls me Mr. Putman.
Yep. Yeah.
You know what I say? God bless him. That guy is grounded. He's got a vision for life. You can just tell. I mean, as soon as I met him, I said in my mind, I was in the furniture business, and I said that Mrs. Smith, when she walked in the door, in the first 10 seconds, she decided whether or not she could buy furniture there.
Really?
We do it with people. As much as we try not to stereotype, the first 10 seconds when you meet somebody is going to be, can I watch this show?
Right.
/ can I be friends with this person? And Mike,
top-notch guy.
I didn't want to let go of his hand.
Yeah.
No, seriously, I just wanted to hug him and say, hey, do you remember in high school when we?
Yeah.
Obviously I wasn't in high school with him.
That's how we feel about him too. He's a great guy. And
Jeff thinks I was in high school with him.
You're what, 30, 35, 36?
Now he likes you.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to know, going back to, you've got this, you're on fire for Christ, as you say, and you definitely are, and you can feel the energy and the positivity pour out of you when I met you. I wanted to know, tell us about your childhood. What was it like, and what led you to want to operate a family where, for those of you who don't know, the whole family, how many, 24, 25 people?
Yeah, it's kind of it's really neat that you brought that up. And again, I think that's God. That because you were not encouraged to bring that up, and nobody whispered in your ear.
We didn't plan anything, no.
Yeah. But get this. Casey, that's my daughter.
Okay.
She's my daughter-in-law, but she's actually my daughter.
Sure.
That's Brandon's wife, is writing a book on my childhood. My mom died when I was 8 years old. I ended up in the system. My dad, he kind of lost it. I think in my mind, I try to say he loved my mom so much, he turned to crutches, drinking. He turned to crutches to deal with the pain, okay? But it left me, for 2 years, I missed school. So the blessing side, everything has a blessing. My glass is half full. I refuse, that's the name of the book, I refuse to be a victim, okay? But I also have ADHD, yeah. So I'm going to get off on tangents. In a few minutes, we'll be talking about...
We do that, too.
An extinct frog in Australia's outback.
So you've seen the podcast.
Yeah. Sounds just like us.
So...
Childhood.
My childhood. So Casey's writing this book, and it takes you back to when I was a kid in 1967 and explains what it's like to grow up on the streets. I missed 2 years of school.
That's incredible.
There was 220 kids in my graduating class in high school, and I graduated 20th from the bottom.
What years did you miss? Like, how old were you when you missed school?
I missed fourth grade and third grade.
Okay.
But I actually...
Those are really important ones.
Well...
I mean, they're all important, but third and fourth grade are like...
Very formative.
Things change different.
Yeah, it's the time that you really need a mom.
Right.
You know, I always think a little girl needs her dad, and a little boy needs her mom. His mom.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, and...
You need that contrast of the...
I missed it. And, you know, not only did I miss it, I got to see the system. And the system was broke and is broke.
Yeah.
And it needs a lot of overhaul. But I survived.
Right.
You know? And I'm not going to blame all that on my past. I'm not going to go out, God forbid, and be a bum and say, oh, I'm like this because... Because you as a society failed me? No, forget that. You know what we got to do? Is we got to put on our big boy pants, forget about what happened to us, and get out there and make it happen. And golly, you guys, that's what you're doing. Forget about if... You know, I'm blind in one eye. I walk with a limp. I'm handicapped. You know, forget about that. I'll pray for you and make you healthy.
Right.
But you know what? At the end of the day, what are you going to do with it?
One of my favorite motivational speakers...
Ryan, quit laughing at me.
No,
Ryan's laughing at me.
You better knock it off, Ryan.
It was the limp thing.
Oh. Well, there was... My favorite motivational speaker has no arms or legs. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's really fantastic. But I'll tell you...
Didn't he wrestle?
I don't know that. That I don't know. I can't jump. Yeah, probably. He's a biter, but no,
he climbed Mount Everest.
Right. Yeah, he's incredible though. Yeah. But there was an old story, and I don't remember where I acquired it. I like to give credit where credit's due, and I don't remember. But it was that there was two sons, and they had a dad that was an alcoholic. And the one grew up to be an alcoholic, and he said, well, of course I was an alcoholic. My dad was an alcoholic. The other one grew up to be super successful, amazing.
Victim.
The other one said, well, how did you become so successful? He was like, my dad was an alcoholic. I had to be. So it's like, how do you take in your perspective to what you are? Now,
spot on.
So you graduated, bottom 20 in your class, you said.
Yep. Some of those kids didn't graduate.
Right.
So I mean, I was like right there.
Our class scores weren't
no.
fantastic.
There was 150 kids in our graduating
class. Did you guys go to high school together?
Yeah.
He grew up we've grown up across the street from each other since we were 5 years old.
What a great story.
We've never been in an argument.
You are brothers.
Yeah, literally. We tease each other all the time.
Are you afraid to say you love each other?
No, we say it once in a while.
Good.
He does.
I have a friend, his name is Dave Goodchild, and we were friends in junior high. The first kid he met when he come to our school, everybody said, now get this, okay, I'm 2 years past everybody. So, like, I'm shaving in 7th grade.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
that was not me, believe it or not.
Yeah.
I still haven't got there, but once in a while,
every
3 days. Every 3 days, I pluck one. But go ahead.
You sound like Blake, my youngest son. But I matured fast, and on top of that, being 20, almost 21 when I graduated.
Sure.
Oh man, it was awesome because sports. I played every sport, but I was the dude because I was so big and I had testosterone. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Where kids were just starting to get it, I was like, I've been shaving.
I hit that around 22.
Give him the ball. I think we're
give him the ball. Exactly. It was fun, but that was And you know what? Just like you guys did a moment ago is what I'm doing. I'm looking at the positive signs.
Right.
And that's what society is about. Today, everybody's give me.
Entitlement.
And you know what? This much effort,
Right.
you can make a great living in this country.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There, you know what? Our unemployment is almost, if you take out all the people that can't work, because they're in that number too,
Right.
is almost zero.
I was listening to a podcast, and the guy said, he goes, by the way, even if our unemployment rate was 6%, because there's people trying to argue that it was, it's not, but they were trying to argue that it was. He goes, even if it is,
great.
have you met 100 people in the United States? You think 6 of them don't want to work? You know what I mean? That was an interesting.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It was a neat
But isn't it
perspective.
true?
I was like, oh yeah, okay. When you put it that simple, it's pretty blatant. So okay. So going back, you have now, in high school, your formative years, you're kind of growing.
I got a zillion stories too.
Yeah.
About high school, but it's for another time.
Yeah, the duck hunting blind.
Maybe tonight.
That's right. I want to hear about what got you to be an entrepreneur. How did that all
Another
start?
godly story. I mean, like unbelievable godly.
Let's hear it.
Get this, and I'll just make it really quick. But we have paper, okay? My wife and I decide. She got pregnant. She's going to kill me. She got pregnant, and we decided we had to get married.
Sure.
There was no other ifs, ands, or buts, okay? My walk with the Lord isn't what it is today, back then, but
Right.
I still knew the Lord.
Right.
Long story short, we decide, we're going to get married, okay? And I'm so excited because I loved her so much. I mean, it's like she's a 10, and I'm like a 2. And now I get to marry a 10. Now, it put me on the line. I got a lot to do to keep it.
Yeah, you got
Okay, but I
the
was ready.
maintenance.
I was ready for the task. So I see this ad in this paper, and it says, this is exactly what it said: salesman wanted, commission plus salary. Call this phone number. That's it. That's all it said. And I said to my wife, I said, Barb, send my resume. All she had, I'm 23.
Okay.
All she had was my high school graduation picture. And she put that in my resume and sent it to that P.O. box. It was a job for a furniture store. I don't know if a chair has 4 legs or 2 legs.
Right.
I go and I interview, and the guy's a Christian that interviews me. And I'm not going to say, I knew the Lord, I just didn't know I knew the Lord. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so he says to me, Bill, this is what God's plan is for you, is to be in sales. And I'm like, oh, man, Ed. His name's Ed. And I won't tell you his last name because I don't want to he's a wonderful guy. His name's Ed Ekins. And I said, and I love him with all my heart. And I said, Ed, I have health insurance where I'm working. I was making I was making $4.10 an hour.
Okay.
Okay, minimum wage was $2.65.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
So that's-
and it
that's
was
equivalent to, like,
terrible.
15 now,
we're just
probably.
barely getting by.
Sure.
But I had health insurance, and so I said to my wife, I can't take this job because I'll lose my health insurance. And so he calls me at work and says, Bill, I was working at a department store like a Walmart. It's called Fisher Big Wheel. He says, Bill, you got to take this job. And I said, Ed, I really fell in love with you guys, and I think I could do good for you, but I can't lose my health insurance.
Sure.
He goes, let me call you back. He talks to now I know this, but he talks to his brother, who is his partner, says, Bill, and I swear to you, I will not lie to you, Kyle. He says, we'll pay for Barb to have the baby. And back then it was about $3,500
Really?
to have
Wow.
a baby. Yeah. And
I don't
said,
know anything about that stuff.
Yeah.
I
Oh, you're
don't-
gonna, buddy.
Yeah.
You're gonna make a great dad. But anyways, guess what? I did it. I took the leap
Yeah.
of faith. I felt like
All right.
I just
The opportunity was
Anyways.
there. Seize the opportunity.
the first month I was not allowed to talk to customers. I couldn't even talk to them.
Yeah,
I was
training
just
and all that.
observe and learn a cedar chest and who made it, and I'm going through all the books. I mean, I'm starving to make money.
You have no idea how much we have in common.
Starving to make money.
yeah.
Not to just get ahead, but to make money. Because I wanted to provide for my wife and my baby. I was excited about it. Guess what? The second month, it's time. Go, Bill. So I walked up to those customers, and if they needed pop. I got them. If they wanted to sit down, I'd kiss their feet. The second month, I was just as good as the other salespeople.
Right.
The third month, and every month after that, I was top salesman.
That's awesome.
My wife and I were buying houses and fixing them up
Flipping
and
'em.
selling them.
Nice.
We had done the first year. The first year we were married, we did 3 houses. I bought them with no money down, that were just trash. And my dad, back in my life, just at the right time, my dad and I fixed them up and sold them and split them. The second year, I had done 11 in 2 years, 11 houses in 2 years, and we had built a nice nest egg. Another furniture store heard how great of a salesman I was and offered me a job. And it was a higher prestige store, really high end.
Sure.
I took it. I made friends with the guy that owned it. He sold his business and asked me if I had enough money to go into a partnership and buy a store. And this is only the third year my wife and I were married.
That's incredible.
That's a
busy 3 years.
Buy a furniture store. We found a furniture store that was having a GOB, a going out of business.
Yeah.
In my hometown where I played football.
Oh,
which in
so then
there,
everyone knows
you know,
you too.
everybody knew me.
Yeah.
I have a gazillion friends. I love everybody there. Guess what? We bought it.
Yeah.
And when you buy a business, you know, you have the real estate, which we owned,
Sure.
which was a blessing. And then we had the inventory. And being in business, you're going to know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
The first 4 years we owned the store, he left to do something else. I kept the store and paid off the inventory, so everything was clear.
Nice.
The only thing I had was a mortgage on the property. And
It's incredible.
we ended up opening 14 stores.
Wow.
That is awesome.
Yep, and it took me 20 years, and now you're gonna get me crying, man. But now
I do that.
I have this huge blessing. My boys are. If I'm ambitious, they're on steroids.
I met them. They're
ambitious.
powerhouses.
Yeah, those
And
guys are awesome.
Billy was so busy when he got married. He's my oldest. He said, "Dad, can Jen and I just live in the house?" Do you want to ask me the question, or you want me to just tell you?
You go ahead and tell me.
So I said, Billy, are you kidding me? Can you live with me and Mom? Of course. It's just ridiculous that you would ask. Him and Jen moved in, and their first were twins. Then Brandon, when they had twins, got married, said, Dad, Billy's doing it. Can I just stay until we get on our feet, too? Yeah, of course.
Still not on their feet, huh?
Exactly. But now you can see how
Yeah,
every
just
one of them
naturally
said,
progress.
why are we moving out?
Right.
You know, why would we do that? We're so happy living together. Now, I got to tell you, watch the show, because we have ups and downs just like anybody else.
You betcha.
But we have a formula for working through them without going to the last card in the deck and say, I want a divorce.
Right.
You know, and that's what society's about today, man.
Over
You know,
50%.
why? You know, don't go to your spouse and say, I want a divorce. Because, guys, gals, it is not better on the other side.
No.
Now, there's cases when people give up and they're hurting you. Get out of that situation. You know.
But over something
Minuscule.
minuscule, you know.
Exactly, Kyle. Kyle, that's a home run.
Yeah.
Fight through it. You know, I made a promise to my wife. I will not leave you. And I made that a vow to God.
Right.
And I said, I will not leave you. And you know, the only time I left my wife, the only time we ever been apart, is a year ago. And I had a heart attack and I died. And my son is a doctor. 2 of my sons are doctors. But my youngest son did CPR. He broke 10 ribs and he split my sternum doing CPR. And
That's aggressive CPR.
yep,
They say, yeah.
That's I'm gonna save you. I'm gonna save
I've
you.
been trained
CPR.
in that, and that's uncomfortably like how
They don't teach
aggressive
that.
you have to be.
It's-
They're like, you push, and when you
Jeff-
push, you will push harder than you could possibly imagine.
listen to Jeff. He knows exactly what he's talking about. If he wouldn't have, I'd be dead.
Jeffrey scored a 30 on his ACT without studying, so he's literally a.
Is that
like
true,
a,
Jeff?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
I went golfing with him. I know he didn't study.
I'm not worried.
I know he didn't study because
I
I
love
went
you
golfing
guys,
with
but
him.
I'm leaving. This isn't right.
I love it. Well, so you literally came back to life, and that's a story that I'm looking forward to hearing in the duck blind because you had quite the experience too.
It's a very, very, very. I've only told 2 people outside of our family that experience, and like I said, I told you I would tell you, and when we have time to be together, I will tell you.
I can't wait. You know, something I wanted to touch on real quick. Ryan, go ahead first.
I just was curious. So, you said you hadn't known you were a Christian yet when you were married
Right.
to your wife. At what age were you, or when did you realize that like you wanted to be a part of the when did your faith mature?
Maybe turn my life over?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think I accepted the Lord when I was 8 years old when my mom died.
Okay.
I believe I had a baptism of my being, and through my mom dying, I asked God a bunch of questions, and I made some promises, and I talked to Him, and I think that's when I really become a Christian. Okay, but I didn't live for God until Barb, that's my wife, had Billy, and I held this little baby
Oh yeah.
in my arms, and I was so lonely because I've never had any family. I had 5 different foster families, and I ran away from all of them. And finally, my uncle died and left me enough money to make a down payment on a house. I was 15, living on my own on the streets. And I went to my dad and I said, Dad, let's buy this house. You and me together. 2 bachelors having it. And he did. And we lived together, and that's that. But I said, Lord, this is what I asked for. A wife that I could trust. A son that I could raise the way I wanted to raise him. That's what this country's all about.
What you didn't have.
Kyle, spot on. And I said, I owe you. What do you want from me? Most people say, well, I need to go be a pastor. No way was I called to be a pastor.
Right.
You know what he wanted me to do? And Ryan, you know what he wanted? He wanted me to stay a businessman and be the best businessman for Christ I could be.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you guys, your calling is right in this room. I can see it. I can feel it. You guys are doing just what God wants you to.
You're giving
Now,
me goosebumps.
hammer it. Do not go home. Do not let the sun go down on your anger. If AJ passes gas, did you a few minutes ago?
That was the dog we had here.
Okay,
That's
thank
the
you.
dog.
Because that was awful. Okay, but listen, if that happens in real life, take him aside and say, I'm not going home, and I love you. No matter how mad you are, Ryan, sit down, talk it out, man.
You
will never replace him.
No.
You will never replace him. These are people God put in your life. So over bubble gum,
Yeah.
we will throw away our relationships.
People, you're absolutely right. I gotta tell you though, they are my 3 best friends, and we have a lot of moments in the field when we're together, especially Ryan too. Just talking and I don't even want to go anywhere without them.
Isn't that cool?
I have the best friends in the entire world. The all-nighters that we pulled, the things that we've done to get to where we are, we're absolute workhorses.
All right, I got to send a
together.
message to your viewers. Okay, now listen. These guys cannot be your best friend. Okay? Because logistically, it is not possible. Okay?
Costs too much.
There's too many of you and too few of them. But let me tell you something. Watch the show and learn the abilities and the gifts that these guys have. Even keep in touch, because they answer their emails. They really do. And become a part of the show. By doing that, you can indirectly be special to your viewers. And that's what we tried to do with the show. We answer all of our emails. It's unbelievable. And it's a full-time job.
Oh, I bet.
But we do it. When Abby had that deer, we had 1.2 million hits.
Incredible.
Wow.
And anybody that anybody that emailed us, I call it eBay us because I don't know.
I like it.
Anybody that
Google
eBayed
Docs.
us,
Yeah, I still do that with Google Docs.
if it's just 3 words, we're praying for you. Is that 3?
we're praying,
You're a smart guy.
if you, no, not
I
if
gotta
it's
wait, my
we or.
calculations were-
Depends how you
It's
write it.
contraction.
Yeah.
The attorney.
That's right. That's right.
And that's right. I did say we're.
The big blessing that the people in this group have
Yeah.
is the fact that my parents have been married over 35 years.
Yeah.
And they're obsessed with each other. Never seen my mom open her own car door. Ever. I've never seen my mom pump gas. I've never seen my parents disrespect each other or undermine each other in front of me or anyone else. I'm sure they've had their own
Do you know I
debates
met
and
your
everything.
parents?
Did you really?
Every time I look in your eyes.
Oh, thank you. They're,
Sounds like a pickup
I got the
line.
best parents in the
Every
world.
time I look at you, I can tell you come from wonderful human beings.
But that's where I give you so much credit, because the scenario that you went through, you developed this awesome philosophy and created an awesome environment for your family without having it. And for that, I mean, what I did was easy. I just had my parents to guide me. You didn't, and that's why I give you a lot
I
of credit.
appreciate that, and thank you.
I'd like to do something to close this segment, because when we come back, we're actually going to be meeting with your granddaughter to talk about her bear kill. We've never done this before, but I like to say a prayer on air real quick.
God bless you, man.
So, Heavenly Father, I want to thank you for the opportunity to have Mr. Putman and his family in the studio with us today. They're on fire for you, and because of that, we feel closer to you. I've got a lot of ideas, and they have a lot of ideas on how we can further our brands to help you, and I just ask that you bless that. Thank you so much. In your son's name, amen.
Amen.
When we come back, we'll be with your granddaughter. Stay tuned.
Thank you.
Hello and welcome back to the Greenway Outdoors podcast. This is kind of a different setup for us. I'm officially a talk show host apparently, but I am here with Meet the Putmans from the hit TV show from TLC. We've got Izzy down at the end, we've got Billy right here, and then we've got the bear killer Abby right here. Now, for those of you who remember, a couple weeks ago on our podcast, we covered a story about the fact that she had harvested her first bear and got a lot of bad press for it. God knows why. So because of that, we've been discussing it, we've been talking about it, and I wanted to have them come in here. So thank you so much for joining me today. And Billy, you're their dad, okay?
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
I am the dad.
So that's why we brought you.
Yes.
Now, she is the star, so
Hey, I'm your dad.
now that you know.
Yes.
So, Billy,
They are twins.
when we looked at, I think you might be able to tell, when we reviewed everything that happened, we see a Facebook post get posted,
Yep.
and you guys post a picture, loving, embracing, holding a bear.
It's who we are.
Exactly.
Totally.
Excited. You could see there was recently tears.
Oh, yeah.
You could see there was big smiles. You could see fulfillment. Coming from someone that hunts and fishes for a living,
Mm-hmm.
I know that feeling. I know what it's like to feel that. And I also know what it's like to experience that between a father and son with my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And the memories made in the field with my dad are something that I will carry with me for a lifetime. And it makes you emotional because you never know when the last one is. I've got a wonderful dad who's still around and hunts and fishes with me today, but seeing that, I got such an emotional tie. And the way that this all really came about is my sister and mom were huge fans of your hit show on TLC. So for those of you who don't know, they had like the #1 show on TLC, reality show, Meet the Putmans, absolutely fantastic, amazing Christian family. And to be honest with you, it was a show that makes you feel good. It was a show that everyone can relate to. And we loved it. And because of that, my sister was like, you need to see this. And she's the one that called attention. She goes, you go defend her. And I said, okay, I will. So we went on the podcast, and that's when we talked about it. I want to break down what happened. So to go back to the beginning, one of the big pushbacks we saw in the very ignorant and honestly poor grammar complaints was that you guys, it wasn't ethical or smart to have such a young girl be killing a bear.
Yep.
And that there's no way that there could be the skill sets involved. And you guys have an incredible story about how you arranged for her to be the one to get the tag.
Yes.
And have better skill sets than most. And I want to hear that from you. How did that all come about?
Yeah. So that came about, honestly, when I was like 10 years old.
Okay.
That's when I got my first deer. I harvested it with my dad. Every night we go out, we shoot our bows. Finally, a beautiful, it was a button buck. and we sat together. We laughed. I actually missed it on my first shot.
Really?
Yeah, it went right over its back.
He gave you a second shot.
Yep. And then my dad's like, "Ugh," he made like a grunt noise, and he actually, hey dear, and I made a perfect heart shot. It went 20 yards, and ever since then, I wanted to share those same feelings that my dad gave me with my son or daughter.
What it's like to harvest your own food.
Just that initial cry, that feeling of success, and I'm contributing to the family, and I'm making my family proud, my dad proud, my daughter's proud, and not knowing I was going to have kids.
Right.
Just that wholesome, godly feeling that I'm taking care of God's creation because my family's going to eat.
We have like this internal need to be one with nature. You know, it is a new concept. Veganism, like it is. If you look at mankind, as long as we've been here,
Yeah.
and you talk about how long the concept of not eating meat has been around,
Yeah.
or the percentage of people that have chosen not to eat meat is less than 1%.
Yeah.
And
I'm not even sure what a vegan is. Is that a salad without dressing?
I think so. I like how
Yeah.
Ted Nugent says vegan because he doesn't know. He goes, I can't even pronounce it right. But the idea of not eating meat and harvesting your own food or knowing where your food comes from is something that's really new.
Yep.
I mean, you look back even 60 years ago, everybody knew where their food came from. We've been, the millennials, Generation Z.
Desensitized.
We've been desensitized. We don't know where our food comes from. We think that, the bacon just comes that way.
No.
We don't know that a life was given.
Yep.
And being one with that experience is such a, you just feel so alive, and you're like, this is what, life and death. Everything on this planet consumes energy. Even if you're eating plants, that plant is alive, and you're consuming its energy. If you're eating an animal, same thing.
Yep.
We're consuming energy, and every organism doesn't, and nobody's above that system.
Nope.
But I just wanted to touch on that because you're sitting out there and you're in it, and you had that experience, and you got that button buck, you provided for the family. Now you've got you've got more than two kids.
I wanted to share that same feeling with my kids. And when I mean my kids, yes, I have 2 daughters. Actually, I have 2 more daughters at home. Plus, I have my brother's kids. Those are my daughters. I wanted whoever got it. So that came up to the competition.
Okay,
That's
tell me
how we
about the
got
competition
That's
now.
what it comes up. So yes,
Izzy's shaking her head.
Yes,
We'll
I'm
find
their
out why.
uncles, and but Bella's just as much as mine as it is Brandon. So
Right.
we have all 13 kids out there, and we decided, okay, the top 7 kids, because they're able enough to shoot the larger caliber gun that we're going to need to shoot this bear.
Sure.
So
What
we have
gun
a
was
shoot.
that?
It was a 30-06.
Okay.
It was actually Nini's gun, which is their grandma's, and it's a Ruger over/under rolling block, perfect gun because it's one shot. You don't have to worry about other bullets. You put the bullet in, you take the bullet out. There's no clip, and so you can't. It's easier to train a beginning student with one bullet than you load the clip,
right?
And it's a semi-automatic. Hey, there's another one in the chamber. No, it's just one bullet at a time. So that's what Dad taught us: one bullet at a time. We actually were raised on 20 gauges. So with that being said, Izzy, Abby, Emma, Bella, Mercy, Addison, and Boy were the top 7.
And they call him Boy because he's the only boy.
It's
in the
actually
family.
Noah. Yeah, he's the only boy. Yes. And so he's the top 7 were in the shoot-off. And I'm going to butcher the shoot-off, but we decided we're going to start with 22s. There's a scoring system, and
I love this.
Yeah, you got to score. It's always scoring system. So then you get to there, they paper, scissors, rock, and we drew out of a hat.
You guys are a competitive family.
Oh, we have
anyhow.
to. Yeah,
Yeah.
We all disputes are paper, scissors, rock.
I love it.
And if you call paper, scissors, rock, you've got to drop the argument and you do it.
Love it.
And it's always 2 out of 3. And yeah. And my brother Brandon always starts with rock, but don't tell him I told you that.
Okay.
Always starts with rock. I
I'll
think that's all
remember
he
that
knows.
at dinner
'Cause
for who gets the first slice of pizza.
He's got man cannons on, and he's always fist. Blake tries to intellectually. I'm getting off topic, but he's always scissors.
Yeah.
Don't tell him I told you that.
I can see him being
He's always because he thinks he's technical.
I can see
Okay,
it.
so we're doing a shooting competition, and we went with 22 scoring system. I don't remember the score. Casey's got it memorized. It's not important to the story, but we end up having Bella out shooting everybody, which is Brandon's second oldest. Okay, then Abby and Izzy tied with Boy,
That's it.
and that was it. So those are the 4. So now we have to go another round.
There's playoffs.
Yeah,
and there's already a group.
Another round.
There's 3 kids crying already.
Oh yeah, they're done.
Yeah.
As a dad, I'm like, I love you, but I got to concentrate. I got 2 more horses in the race here.
Yeah,
okay?
exactly.
Because when it's all said and done, too, us boys were competing with our kids too.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
I'm
you're
like, hey,
living vicariously through the kids.
Yeah,
in
I'm
this
like, come on,
competition.
baby, you got to shoot. You let your dad down.
You
know
can see why their reality show was such a hit on TLC.
Don't let your dad down.
Yeah, no.
You got to get this bear. You
You'd
know.
be really uncomfortable in the horse if you don't do
Exactly. So another round of 22s, same scoring system, and then it came down to I think we ended up losing boy after 2 more rounds because they shot and there was a couple ties, and it ended up being
The gun
Izzy-
doesn't lie either.
Oh no, Izzy, Abby, and Bella. And then we went to the 30-06 round. Okay, so you get 2 shots scoring because I mean I don't want to go burning through ammo here.
Right.
And it is a larger caliber, and we said this is the actual gun. Whoever wins that will be used for the tag.
Who got the cold bore shot? Because that matters.
We already fired the gun.
Okay.
It wasn't cold.
Okay.
Papa made sure it was on. And we didn't want any hiccups.
Yeah.
I don't want to be like, hey, it's 2 inches high.
No
100.
mysteries.
No. So she was hot. She was ready to go. And my dad, he's an excellent shot. He should have been a sharpshooter. I mean, he could shoot a fly at 1,000 yards. He's just that good. So with that being said, we all drew again.
Right.
And I think Bella went first.
Yeah.
And then you. And then Izzy. Okay. And Bella didn't anticipate the kick. It was when we went from 22 to 30-06 and a little bit bigger gun. And she's a smaller frame. What is she, 9, 10?
She's 10.
Yeah, she's a great shot, but she didn't anticipate the kick. She threw her bullet. They tied again. So Bella was out.
Almost
she
like
started
they're
crying.
twins.
And I felt bad for Bella. I really did.
Yeah.
She deserved it. She worked hard. She was really fighting through the 22 range. And it was
Yeah.
just, I was proud of her. I really
Yeah.
was. And so then it went to Izzy and Abby. And now I'm like, all right, I'm Dad's in. I'm going bear hunting.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
Which one's it going to be?
Yeah.
And
Your kids are in.
Is it going to be the firstborn or is it going to be the secondborn? And they're a minute apart.
Okay,
it
I was
doesn't
gonna
matter.
ask.
Yeah, they're literally 60 seconds apart.
Right.
Uh,
It was nice of you to let your little sister go.
so, there was nothing there.
Yeah,
There was nothing. So, they shot, scored, tied again. And we're like, okay, you're burning up ammo. Whoever's closest to the bullseye wins. End of story. So, they drew. Abby goes first, and now you can tell it's serious because they get 1 shot.
Right.
This is it right here. Because
Right.
you're only going to, you should only get 1 shot with the bear. So
Right.
this is it. She touches it off. I'm like, all right. And it was probably, I would say, 2 inches left of center. It's still a great shot. Proud of her. Now it's Izzy's turn. She's breathing. Takes a break. She's breathing. I know she wants it. And,
Yeah.
And you cheated because she wanted to go second to know where that shot was. It is, you always want to
Yeah.
go.
You want to know what you got to beat.
Exactly.
Because if she did a bad shot, you're like, all right, I got to do is hit the paper. And
yeah, exactly. But no, they're both excellent shots, so she's got to put it in there. But 2 inches left. There's a big area.
How far is the target?
60 yards, because
Okay.
that's how far the bait station was from the blind. So we wanted everything to be as close
Exactly
as
what
it
it
could.
would
So everything was on target. So
Almost like you
could
guys
see-
practiced to be ready for the bear hunt.
Weird. That's what being a good stewart's all
Almost
about.
like that, right?
Yeah. So Izzy, she touches it off. I couldn't see it through my binoculars, and I'm like, we just run down there. We just want to know who's it going to be. And the kids are running, and they're like, and usually they yelled back, hey, it's Bella won, but nobody was yelling. And we're like, why not? So I get to the paper. Dad gets to the paper. Blake gets to the paper. Brandon gets to the paper. Mom gets to the paper. We're looking at the paper, and they're literally touching each other, just like this. Half a bullet here, half a bullet here.
Who's closer?
Me.
We had to compass it to see who was closer.
That's got to be.
And Abby got it by 2 thicknesses of a thumbnail.
All right. So
She started crying.
Izzy, I feel like I need to take you bear hunting now. I really, really do. Well, I gotta ask you, in a family that the competition's so tough, that had to not feel fantastic, huh?
No, it didn't.
But did it make you stronger? Because now you
Yeah.
want it more, right? Mm-hmm. And now she's out of the way.
Yeah.
You
He
might
wants to
even
know
keep-
what's it like being a loser.
No.
That's what he's asking. I'm interpreting.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
So I gotta say though, you being that close, it sounds like you wiped everybody else out. And to be honest with you, we're not totally sure that was her shot that beat yours. I mean, if it made
No, I'm 100%.
something. Oh, okay. I'm trying to help her here.
You could. I did all that. No, tell her the truth.
How much?
You were second.
How much do you look forward to hunting now, though?
Oh, a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
And what did you think
really-
when you saw that giant boar that she shot?
Oh, it was big. It was probably as tall as Abby, and I really would like to shoot a bigger one than her.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's the thing is God works in mysterious ways. I remember I was snow goose hunting one time, and we had this huge flock wanting to come in, wanting to come in, and they would not commit. And it really looked like they were going to. And we could have even called the shot. We were in a layout blind in a field. We never called the shot, and they ended up going over and going away, and I never would have anticipated that. I was like, man, I should have called it. Then right after, a single comes squeaking through the decoys. I pop up, shoot it, drop it. It's my first banded bird.
Oh,
And I
yeah,
was like-
you wouldn't have got it if
I
you
was
were
like,
shot.
oh yeah. I was like,
Yeah.
God must have wanted me to get that one. So I think you got something special coming. Who knows? Maybe it'll even be on like the Greenway Outdoors TV show or something. If you get your
Well,
first
thanks
bear,
for
something
boosting
crazy.
it up, but just so you know, in the family,
We
competition
don't-
starts all over next year. So she has to beat not only Abby's out, she got
Right.
a bear. She has to beat the original 6, but now there's a new 3 coming up behind her. So she's got 9 kids she's got to compete against.
So
So she might not pull it off.
I think she will. Look at that smile. No way she won't. Now, with that being said, and I love the competition, I love the atmosphere, and this is what the show was famous for,
Yes.
is you guys joking around, being real. The thing is, in a culture, and this is spinning it a little bit serious, we live in a society where second place trophy is the same as first place trophy,
Yep.
and consolation prizes, and nobody's feelings can get hurt and stuff like
Yep.
that. My house did not operate that way. It was polar opposite. You succeed or you fail, and
Yep.
it's in your face,
Yep.
because if you want to get better, then you have to.
Amen.
And all jokes aside, because it was always done in a loving, joking manner like
Totally.
you guys do. But fact is, the world's a hard place.
Yep.
And it's coming for you.
Yep.
And it did come for you guys in certain ways as well with this entire bear story.
Yep.
The world's tough, and you have to be tough. And it's our job. I shouldn't say ours, because I don't have kids. I'm not married, nothing. But
Yeah.
it's the job of the parents to make sure that they're building the kids up so they're ready, because life is going to come. The snakes are going to get in the garden. And you can have a kid that's scared of the snakes and hopes none ever come in, or you can have a kid that can chop those snakes' heads off.
It's a well said. I hate snakes. I hate snakes. And Dad said growing up, you got to face your fears.
Yep.
And so
Rip
when you
the
see a
Band-Aid off.
snake, just grab it and you let it curl on you and that's that. And a gardener, you let it bite you. Just
Right.
get over it.
Right.
And that's what we're teaching our kids. We're teaching them the armor of Christ. Put it on and go fight the world. We're
Absolutely.
not of this world.
Right.
We're here to gain God's favor and leave.
You're going
That's
to
it.
spend so much more time
Exactly.
dead than alive.
Yeah, totally. Alive in Christ.
Right.
100%. So with that being said, put the armor of Christ on and go fight the fight. Be a leader, be encouraging, and point people towards Christ. That's what we do. And so we want to do that in every way we can. So with the competition, that was one of the things. There's going to be losers and there's going to be winners.
Right.
Do you like the way it felt when you lost? No. Then what should you do?
Get better.
Shoot more, practice your essays more, practice your serves more, practice pitching more. All the sports that we compete in, be better.
Right.
That's what we teach. Because I don't like to
That's
lose.
all it takes.
I don't like to lose. And so growing up, Dad said, if you don't want to lose, then be the best.
Right.
And you're going to lose. And as long as you leave that, we wrestled, they played softball, as long as you leave that field, that mat, that court, or whatever you do, that swimming pool, and you gave it 110% and you lost, I'm so proud of you.
Now, the lessons that can be learned anytime in field, there's so many failures that I learned through hunting and fishing to get better.
Mm-hmm.
You know, why did those ducks do that? Why did that deer wind me? Why did this happen? Why did that happen? And you're always dealing with them. Now, in the world we're talking about, when, you know, being a Christian, conservative, outspoken person and TV personality, you've got a house chock full of them. So for those of you who don't know, again, the show on TLC, they've got an entire family. How many in one house? 24, 25,
She would probably know better.
24, 25.
Yeah.
Well, there's 8 adults and 13 kids, so whatever
Okay.
that is in math.
Okay.
Ish.
So you got 21 people.
Am I right?
23? No.
Well, when there be
21.
that's 21 what he
21.
gave us, but I thought
Well, we
there
got
was
then
20
there's
grand.
Dudley,
Oh, yeah.
So
And then there's
22.
Molly. Not Molly. Lily.
Lily,
Then
and
Oliver.
Oliver. So we got 3 dogs.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say you're gonna need to include the dogs.
Yeah, you have
So
What
you
about
got,
chickens? We got chickens, too.
They're like they count as.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. So with that, you've got this whole family under one roof.
Yes.
And
Literally one house. I joke. I still live with my mom and dad.
Right. I like that. And you guys all share one bank account.
Yes.
One family.
Yes.
And that entire atmosphere, though, that competitive nature. What I envy of you guys is you guys always have someone to play with. All I had was Jeffrey. And you met him. He's not all that great. He lived across the street from me since we were 5 years old. We did everything together. But you guys have a house full of kids. But I want to get back to the bear story itself. So you go out.
So
I want to hear this from you.
the blessing is this year the DNR approved. You could transfer the license.
Right.
Because my mom drew it and she's like, I really don't want to shoot another Michigan bear, but if I have to, I have to. And Dad read in the manual, hey, we can transfer it.
And
So
that's why
when
there
we
was
did
a
the
competition to who gets to do
Because,
it.
Nini's like, who are we going to do it to? And you can't just be like, all right, firstborn. It's boring.
Right.
We got to have a competition.
Oh, yeah.
So Abby wins. Nini transfers it to Abby's, because they all had their preference point.
Yeah.
Transfers into Abby's name. And
I
now
did too, and I wasn't
Yeah.
invited, but we'll talk about that later.
You're not under the age. She'd probably outshoot you anyway.
I wouldn't want to compete against her, that's for sure. So let's talk about this, Abby. So tell me what it was like for you to go out with your dad and go out after a bear, such an exciting animal.
Well, I was really excited, and I couldn't sleep the last couple of nights that we were going up there. So, yeah, okay. So we got in our blind. It was early in the morning. I was tired. I didn't want to be there at that moment. Then I realized, wait, I'm going to shoot a bear. I'm like, okay, never mind. Take that back.
This is incredible.
Yeah. So our papa dropped us off at the blind. He was waiting us to get us settled into the blind and make sure we're good and okay. We have everything that we need. And so we got our guns up. We just
Tell them the most important part, Abby. She watched The Office.
Oh, in the blind?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I like The
I'm
Office.
sitting there and it's just getting daylight. And I'm like, what's that light? And I learn over and she's got earbuds in and she's watching the first season of The Office.
Okay, when I'm awake, I'm awake. I don't go back to sleep. So
Right.
I'm like, this is boring. There's no bear coming right now, so you might as well. Let's just pull up my show. So I just watched it, and my dad's like, what are you doing? So then I'm like, here. And then he listened to it. I was like, oh. So then we watched for a little bit. And then
I did. I joined it.
Yeah, okay.
So like I looked at the blind window, and I'm like, oh my goodness, there's something there. And then my dad's like,
Is it still early now?
yeah, it's like almost light, it's almost dark,
Okay.
same thing like that.
Where you see the
in
light
the
coming up
morning,
through the
yeah.
woods?
So then I'm like, Dad, what is that? So then he looked. We got our gun up. We looked. It was a porcupine.
Okay.
So then I'm like,
Your
what?
heart's already racing though.
Yeah,
isn't it?
I'm like, that's a bear. I'm gonna get that
Yeah.
one because I never saw it in like the
Right.
like wild or whatever. So then we went back to the office. So then we got done with that. We were just looking around and we were just talking a little bit. We were just practicing again because I wasn't sure about it. So then, like a couple minutes later went by. It was like 8 o'clock. This bear came in, and then I'm like, okay, here we go.
Right.
So then we got our gun up. I made sure I was on him because I didn't want to lose him. I was just like so scared and nervous and excited at
Now,
the
when
same
you say
time.
on them, for those who don't hunt, what was your target on that bear?
The shoulder. So I wanted to aim right there, the perfect shot, no, it doesn't run away. Then I have to wait longer to get another one.
And you hit the vitals too.
Yeah. So the bear came in, went to the bait, was eating. And I'm like, you know what? Let's just have some fun a little bit. Let's let it wait. So then it turned around, went on this branch, and my dad's like, okay, I'm gonna take the safety off. As soon as you're ready, pull the trigger when its head goes up. So his head went up. I took
And
a
the
deep
reason I
breath.
said her head, because bears are not like deer. You can't see definition.
Right.
It's just a blob of black.
Right.
And so when it raises its head, you can see its chest, you can see its shoulder, and then it shows you the definition. So I said, when you see the definition of its shoulder, just squeeze the trigger.
Right.
So I saw it, and then it stood up, looked at me, and I'm like, okay, here we go. I took a deep breath.
How were you feeling at the time?
So I just my heart stopped. I felt like so I took a deep breath. I got right there. I got the perfect shot. And I shot, and I'm like, oh no, did I get it or not? So then I just closed my eyes.
That
and I
feeling,
prayed.
just so you know, happens to everybody, no matter what they say.
So I prayed, and I was like, God, please just let me get this bear. Thank you for the opportunity and the blessing of it. So then I done praying. My dad was looking through the binoculars to see if he can find it, and he
So
took
it
a
ran
long.
off after you shot.
Yeah. So he was taking long times. I'm like, great, I lost it, and
That feeling is, up until you're touching it, there's an uncomfortable feeling that always causes a headache, if you notice.
yeah.
That no one can describe unless they go out and harvest their own food. But
It's
keep
a
going.
euphoric amount of stress right now.
Insanity.
Yeah.
Insanity.
So my dad went like this. I'm like, great, I missed it. And then I was starting to cry because I thought I missed it. So then my dad's like, Abby, you just shot a massive bear. And then I just stopped for a
Did
minute.
you know it was a monster?
Yeah.
Yeah, when you saw it.
But I didn't, just like her mom, I didn't, when her mom's bear came in, she's
Right.
like, hey, is that? And I'm like, no, it's a little one. We're not going to shoot it. And so she practiced on it. And
Yeah.
then I said, okay, honey, this is her mom. I said, you're going to shoot this bear. And she said, you said it was a little one. I said, I didn't want you to get worked up. Because
Oh,
this thing's
nice.
a monster. You got to pull the trigger, honey. You got to shoot
And
this
hurry.
bear. Yeah, exactly. And so then she started panicking. But I didn't want, bears are very slow and
Yeah.
methodical. And you could watch a bear for 20, 30 minutes before you even get a shot.
Right.
And so I
They
didn't want
have
her-
to present the right
It's
shot.
just nice and steady. And I didn't want them to get totally
yeah.
freaked out of their mind because they're
It's a
sitting
bear
there for
hunt. It's
exactly.
different.
It's very intense. Something you can't. It's way different than deer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got out of the blind, and I was like freaking out. I could not stop talking. I'm like, what if we didn't get it? I was just like going to the negatives, and I went to the positives.
You had an upset stomach.
Yeah,
I
and
told you
then,
that headache comes in too.
yeah, I
had
was
it.
just like freaking out. Like my body was like bad, and so then my legs were shaking, and I didn't know what to do. I was just freaking out. So we got out of the blind. We walked to the bear. I couldn't see anything. Like I was just like shaking, and I was just like my ears are ringing. I'm like, oh no. So then we. My dad saw it, and he's like, stop, because he wanted to make sure it was
Yeah,
dead.
you don't want to just approach it.
So then he got the gun, just looked at it, just made sure it's not dead, and come
Yeah,
attack us.
like a
so
good
then,
dad.
Yeah. So then we went over to it. He said, come on. So then I saw it. I laid on top of it, and then we just started praying. After that, I prayed.
Every time we kill an animal or harvest an animal, we pray.
That's a practice that my dad taught me as well.
No matter what, just thanking God for everything for the family and all that stuff.
Right.
So.
That feeling of relief when you see it, I always equate it to you never know how good your head feels until you have a brain freeze, and then it goes away. Because
Yeah.
then when it goes away, you're like, wow, I'm happy.
Yeah.
And when you come up on that animal and you know that you took its life, but with a purpose. So one of the things also that you guys were attacked for was you don't even eat a bear. Now you should love the fact that I have recorded an awesome bear recipe from our bear episode, and I copied and pasted the link to all those people that said you can't eat bear, but you guys donated it to people that needed it. Is that right? The meat?
Yeah. There's a lot of people that are close to our family that are older generation that still would love to hunt, and love the flavor of venison and partridge and we, as much as we get game for our family, we share that.
Right.
And a lot of people where we live still sustain hunt.
Right.
You know, they need a deer or two to get through the winter.
Now, you're a smart guy, and I've gotten to spend a lot of time with you. And
Thanks, Abby.
my background and passion is hunting and fishing and facts. Love facts.
Yeah.
Now, there's a lot of facts that go into. One of the other things that I saw pushback on was the fact that you baited. Now, you talked about the fact, and I'm putting it on a T kind of, but it's just such a stupid thing for people to say. But the baiting, people that have a problem with it, gave you the opportunity to get her comfortable,
Yep.
get her braced,
Yep.
set, maybe watch a little bit of The Office, and get ready to be able to place a perfect shot.
Yep.
So there was no suffering, and it was a quick, clean, ethical kill.
Yep.
And I guess I just
Totally.
answered it.
That's 100%.
Yeah, and that's why I don't have a problem with it. The bear my one and only bear that I've gotten was in West Virginia.
Yeah, we watched it. It was beautiful.
Thank you.
And it was walking when you shot it, but that's the only shot you were going to get. He stopped, turned over his shoulder, and that was your shot.
That was it.
I couldn't do that with her.
Right, and
She
that's
would
why
not be able to pull that off.
That's
Yeah.
why the baiting is
Yeah.
fantastic. Yeah, and you saw it, but I
Yeah.
only had we weren't allowed to bait or use
No.
dogs in West Virginia
That's
during the
fine.
late season. But my point is to know where your food comes from and to honor an animal. That will feed people.
Yep.
The fur will be used. I can't say the same about certain practices of farming, but we were just in South Dakota, and I saw these wide open plains, and these these cows had all of this space, and AJ, our director, and I was like, dude, I don't feel bad for these cows at all. They are going to live an awesome life out here, live 3 or 4 years, and they're not going to die from disease. They're not going to die of starvation.
Yep.
They're not going to be ripped apart from predators.
And those
They're
farmers
gonna have
guard them with their lives.
Guard them
Yeah.
with their lives. They're going to live a full life, and then when they're harvested, there'll be no pain.
Yep.
And that is to go out and harvest your own food, to go out and get it yourself, be one with nature and God. He said, take up your quiver and bow, go hunt, and provide food for your family, and to be one with nature. And I give you so much credit for passing that along to your kids the way my dad did to me and put me in the position that I'm in today. But I will tell you, it is so important to know where your food comes from. 50, 60 years ago, we just talked about it with your dad. 50, 60 years ago, everyone knew where the food came from.
Yep.
But now this new culture, it's like we don't want to know anymore. We want to
Yeah.
ignore it. We want to act like we don't know.
Yeah.
Listen, do you know what was in that bear's stomach that I shot? Other bears. Okay? They're not teddy
They're
bears.
very territorial.
They're very the guess is that he ate his own kids.
Probably.
That is probably
Yeah.
what happened. The point is, these are wild animals. Knowing where your food comes from, knowing how to go out and get it yourself, cook it for yourself. Wholesome. You want to talk
Yeah.
about organic, clean,
Yeah.
good
No
meat for your family.
steroids. You know, it's not a
Nothing.
chicken that was from a chick to a full-grown chicken in 3 days.
With no waste.
Yeah.
And if you eat meat and you're part of the 95% that do, to pick on you when you're so pretty, smart, amazing, and harvested this awesome bear it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes me so angry, and I want to beat up everyone that talks bad to you. But I am so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. Get him next year. But I just think
She didn't get any.
I know. Next year. But I'm just so proud of you that you went out, you did it, and now, because of that experience, you experienced it, you saw it from beginning, middle, end, ate it, you got the furs being utilized, it's feeding people that can't get it themselves. It's the circle of life, and it's what's so amazing about getting outside, and not to mention the hunting and fishing licenses that you guys purchase, that hunting license, the conservation organizations that you guys support, that money goes back to make sure there's sustainable habitat and more bears.
Yep.
So because you took a bear, there are more bears.
There will be more bears.
Can you imagine? So you actually added to the bear population. So for all of you that were so concerned about her harvesting that bear, I want to let you know it actually did a lot of good. It helped feed a lot of people, and because of that, good job.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for tuning into the Greenway Outdoors podcast. I want to thank the Putmans for joining us. It's been an excellent, fun episode getting to meet the Putmans. Check us out every single week right here at NRM Streamcast. Thanks for tuning in. Stay green.
We hope you enjoyed this week's episode of the Greenway Outdoors. Check us out on NRM Streamcast, YouTube, Carbon TV, and everywhere podcasts can be found. Please submit all show ideas to thegreenwayoutdoors@gmail.com. See you next week. Stay green.